Hello together. I'm now at the booth of Formlabs, and this is John.
Yes.
And we are talking about the future of 3D printing. If we go,
That's right.
If we go maybe 2 years back, 3 years back, people said, yeah, maybe we can in the future print anything. We do a car and go out and drive with a 3D printed car. But now I believe that 3D printing becomes reality in terms of you have a lot of 3D printers here, and I see some products.
Yeah.
What is the current status of 3D printing?
So the last couple of years have had this intense focus on, as you suggest, real applications for 3D printing, and that involves looking at different workflows. So different types of things that are made in a manual way and that could be made in a digital way. So we have a few materials that I can show you here that represent that transformation. One is this investment casting material. So this is used to make lost wax casts.
Okay.
You 3D print something in a shape like this that you want to make as a piece of jewelry or as another metal device. You immerse this.
Okay.
You immerse this 3D printed wax form into a ceramic slurry and fire it in an oven. The ceramic hardens and the wax burns out
Okay,
and leaves a cavity.
Oh, wow.
And then you can pour a precious metal in and let it cool in the ceramic cavity.
That means for the jewelry, they can do now things they can't do in the past.
Exactly.
And we see more art in this way.
That's right. That's right.
Wow.
Traditionally, a jeweler would have to carve out of jeweler's wax by hand, but this process means that you can design a shape that you would never have been able to produce as a jeweler working by hand before. Something with a lattice, something with a very complicated geometry, and work very mathematically. So this is an example of a process that used to be handmade, and now it can be digitized with 3D printing. It's not as ambitious, it's not as kind of lofty as some of the things that people were speaking about a few years ago. It's very practical.
Okay, and you have another example out of the reality?
Another big segment of our customers are dentists and dental technicians. This is a 3D printed denture, and it's suitable for long-term wear in your mouth. So it's made of two different materials, one for the gums and one for the teeth, and it's printed in a few hours.
That is not a model, that is real?
This is real. It goes right in your mouth. This is a fully biocompatible 3D printed denture for long-term wear. So a dentist...
What is long-term in your...
several years.
Oh, wow.
So it's similar to the materials that dentures are made out of traditionally, but traditionally a dentist has to take an impression of your mouth. You bite into a kind of a clay, and then it goes to a technician, and there's molding involved, and it's a very handmade process. Now the dentist scans your mouth with a scanner, sends the file to a technician, and the technician designs the denture and prints it directly, and you get something like this. So a denture used to cost $50 to make the old way, and now it can be printed for $10. So this is a big difference, and it's much faster, it's much more accurate, much more precise.
Great. And John, what do you think, what is the future of 3D printing? I think you're in the business. What is the time frame, and what do we have to expect in the next maybe 2-3 years? Is there a big step coming now? Or?
I think so. In general, in the applications, 3D printing is already used in the prototyping stages of just about every product. If you look at CES here, everything around us has been prototyped on a 3D printer at some point. The big transition is going to be moving into more end-use 3D printed parts. Okay. And that's something that's difficult to achieve now, but the economics of 3D printing are changing. It's getting a lot less expensive so that it's become competitive with investment, it's become competitive with injection molding, and with some of the other more traditional
Can you give me an example? Which products do you see now in the next years which are manufactured in a normal way today, in a traditional way, and which will...
Sure. So athletic shoes are a great example.
Shoes?
Shoes, yeah. The soles of athletic shoes. You think of lots of things that could be customized, and 3D printing can add a lot of value. So we work with New Balance, for instance, on developing a 3D printed sole for a shoe, which means that your foot can be measured digitally, very precisely, and then a sole can be designed in software that suits the shape of your foot and that suits your requirements as an athlete. Wow. And the sole can be printed. So this is it delivers much better performance than
that means all the orthopedic shoemakers which doing it now by hand, they are in trouble in a couple of years?
Well, or they'll switch to a digital process, just like the dental technicians who are now doing this digitally.
How many dentists in the US are using this currently? Can you say in percentage? Is it 1% of the market, or?
It's a pretty small percentage now. I don't know the exact percentage, but in terms of using digital processes at all, quite a lot of dentists are using some of them. They're using maybe a 3D scanner, but then producing something in a conventional manner, or they're using a hybrid process. So the way that Invisalign aligners are made is by 3D printing a model of your teeth, but then vacuum forming plastic over it and using that. So it's not a 3D printed end-use product, but 3D printing is part of the process. So that's quite common in the dentistry field today.
Thanks a lot, and
Thank
for
you
for this outlook, and we are looking forward what we see in the next years here at the CES.
Thank you for speaking with us.
Thank you.